here are some tips for footballers who want to grind. You know, you say you want to be a professional footballer, but you literally are too lazy to do so. And I've been in your position before. I've said I want to go out and train, but I just haven't. And this is a problem that many people have. So don't get offended that you've even clicked on this video, because this video applies to everyone. Our generation and the younger generations, literally the most laziest of people ever to exist, myself even included. But I have come up with a few tips and a few methods that get me through them trainings when I literally can't be bothered. And this isn't going to be applied to team training or matches, because if you're not doing that, then that is below what we're talking about. It should be pretty easy to go to team trainings and matches, because that's a commitment that you've made. Like, if you're not going to that, then you're disrespecting someone else's time, your coach, whatever it is. So these are tips for when you want to do some individual training. You know you should, but you just don't do it. And this is the key to success, because people who do these extra trainings, those are the people that they improve 1%, they improve 1%, and before you know it, a year's passed and they're 365% better than you, however many times they train. So this is super, super important. You need to be doing your own training sessions, because if you aren't, then you're basically falling behind, right? So we'll start off with tip 1, and that is, why do you not want to train? Because logically, you do want to train. You've told everyone you want to be a professional footballer, and I believe you. You genuinely do want to be a footballer. But at the moment, it's sort of just words. You've said it to everyone, but not a lot's happening. You're doing the bare minimum. You're doing training with your team, you're playing matches, you're improving a tiny bit, but it's not going to be enough. So you have to question, why aren't you actually training extra when you literally should be in order to reach your goal? And I'm not going to give you some terrible advice of like, you need to write down goals, whatever like that is. That's generic stuff, that's what everyone says. This video is more so about individual tips, things that you really need to think about. So why? Just ask yourself, why are you not training? And I'll tell you the answer. It's because there's an easy option out. There's easier things to do. There's better things to do. You can eat crisps, you can play Fortnite, you can go on your phone, you can scroll on TikTok, and those things to you are better in the moment. Those things give you more dopamine in the moment than a real training session does, because that's a hard thing to do. Training alone is very hard. It could be like throughout the winter, especially if you're in the UK, it's cold as fuck. It's so cold. It's windy. It's raining all the time. It's not an enjoyable experience. So your body and your brain is prioritizing keeping yourself warm, doing things that are kind of fun in the moment. And the reason is because your brain is completely messed up. You're thinking, I want to be a footballer, but then you've got this whole other side of your brain, which is like effectively your monkey brain, which is like your primal instincts. And those primal instincts are like telling you, dopamine, I need dopamine. And if it's effectively, I'm trying to think of an example of what we would be doing in the primal times for dopamine, but it would be effectively like giving a caveman a phone. This caveman would just use the phone the whole time and he'd completely forget about hunting food. That's effectively what you're doing, but the hunting aspect is playing football. So what you need to do there is you have to understand the difference between immediate and delayed gratification. And immediate gratification, what that has negative consequences. So scrolling on TikTok, you ruin your dopamine receptors, then you can't speak to people, and you've also wasted time that you could be throwing it somewhere else that will actually improve your life, the things that will actually improve your football. So that's the TikTok side of things, but then other instant gratification things like eating unhealthy and just wasting time instead of training, because it's so easy to do, right? So you need to completely eliminate those things. Obviously, it's very difficult to do, to completely get rid of them, but you have to understand that when you're choosing to go out to train or to continue scrolling on your phone, watching Netflix or whatever it is, you have a choice. One choice is going to improve your life. The other choice is going to make your life worse. So if you think about it like that, it's a very, very easy decision. So you might be sat at home and you're thinking, I cannot be bothered to train. But what you have to think is, well, this thing's going to make my life worse. But this thing, going out and training, will actually improve my life because I'm going to be better at football, then I will be more confident, etc., etc. Then I can eventually get scouted. It's not a one-time job. You've obviously got to do this training over and over. But you have to just view it as get home and genuinely analyse your options. Honestly, think this. So if you're on your phone, let's say, for example, you're thinking, should I go out to train? Analyse the whole thing and go, should I train? So what are the benefits, what are the negatives? And you can even write this down, for example. But then once you analyse it, and you analyse it logically, you'll realise that training is your best option. And this is the thing with delayed gratification. In the moment, it might not be fun. It's gonna be boring, it's gonna be tough, it's gonna be difficult to do, especially with the weather at the moment. It's terrible. But you have to think, imagine when you finish that session, how good your heart will feel, how good your body will feel, how tired your legs will feel in a good way. These are all feelings that benefit you in the long run, because obviously you're going to get fitter, you're going to get better at football, and eventually you can reach the goal of becoming a footballer. But these things it's not fun. It's not fun in the middle. Sometimes football's fun, sometimes it's not. But if it's not fun for you, just remember that an hour after, 2 hours after, a week after, a year after, you'll be thanking your younger self for putting in this time. And this is something that I wish I could have done more as a kid. I've been extremely disciplined the last 3 years, but if I could have been this disciplined when I was 12, 13, that's when I could have made the most progress. So if I understood this concept when I was younger, I would have been flying at a ridiculous rate. And it's not a good thing to look back in hindsight and regrets, because regrets are just completely pointless to have. But I just want you to know this as a younger person than me. You're probably a lot younger than me. As a 13-year-old, 14-year-old, 15-year-old watching this, I want you to understand that these choices, they don't just make an impact on you the next day, the next week. They make an impact on your life 3-4 years down the line. And when you're 18, 19, 20, it's a lot more difficult to improve at a fast rate. So if you put in the work now, you just make these quick and easy decisions. You don't miss out on anything by not scrolling on TikTok for an hour or whatever you're doing. You don't lose anything because there's always TikTok to scroll. It's always going to be there. You can do that whenever you want. You can literally do that like after you get in after training. But you have to realise football's not always there, because when you reach a certain age, I promise you it's not going to be there, because the dream becomes more unrealistic as you get older. And that's not me telling you're never going to become pro, because you will. Trust me, if you put in the work, you literally will. It's so easy. But as you get older, it becomes more difficult to improve. You become solidified, your muscles kind of understand certain things, so they're not open to learning new moves. It becomes harder, right? So just remember this. You're 13, 14, 15, even 16, or however old you are. In 5 years' time, you will be thanking yourself for just choosing that extra football session. So for tip 2, we have getting addicted to getting better. But what does this actually mean? So it's literally, you see progress and you become addicted to this. The easiest example of this is like relating it to the gym, right? Because I've done this over the last few months. You can visibly see increases in how good you are, how bigger you are, whatever it is, if it's a gym. You can see these improvements and you need to get addicted to this, because one of the best things in football is becoming better than like all your friends, all your peers, all your team. Imagine the feeling, like you go into the season and you're the same as everyone else, or you might even be worse than that. Imagine ending that season and just being better than everyone. That's part of it. But you just have to get constantly addicted to seeing progress. So it's every week. You practice your dribbling, doing cone drills, you practice your shooting, whatever the individual thing is. Like by the end of the week, you will seriously be able to tell that you're better. And that is like an amazing feeling. Obviously there'll be some sessions where you don't see too much improvement, but especially as a young player, like I keep saying to you, you can literally go into a session being this bad or this good, and then coming out of the session and you've improved so much already. So you need to get completely addicted to getting better, because when you make this progress, it's a wonderful feeling, right? Because you're just getting better. And imagine what that can do over a longer period of time. So you don't even have to look at it you don't have to look at it with the longevity. You just have to get addicted to getting better and better, because you will see progress if you do your sessions right. And by the way, I have free training, link in the description, so sign up to that if you want to get your training right. So that'll be the first link in the description. But if you do your training right, then you're going to improve so fast. And that's real dopamine. That's dopamine that you've earned. So it's none of this instant gratification stuff I was talking about. that is what you'll see. You'll see the rewards after every session, and you're like, oh my days, wow, I can do this dribble really well. I can do this cone drill so much faster than I could a week before. Or it could be, wow, my power in my shot has improved so much. And those are like real dopamine things. So this is especially good advice to people who potentially aren't, if you're not a very confident person naturally, or you're quite a timid person, when you're doing your individual training sessions and you visibly see improvements in your game, I want you to say it out loud. That's how you're going to become addicted to seeing progress. It's like in the gym, you see it in the mirror. You look at yourself in the mirror and you look bigger, you look stronger, you look more muscular, you've got a six pack. These are all things that you can see, right? Whereas football, obviously you can see it with your eyes, but then it's kind of gone. You don't get to really take it all in because it's already happened. So I want you to kind of take a step back. You see some improvement in yourself, genuinely take a step back. Obviously don't do this if you're on an actual match, but if you're training on your own, and let's say you've been practicing the Messi dribble, which is one, like, I'm not going to try and explain. Let's say the 1 in 1 out cone drill. You've started this, you're really bad at it, you're super bad at it. Let's say a week later, you've done it 3 times, whatever, you've practiced it 3 times, you see a massive improvement, or even a little improvement. You literally, this is what I want you to do, I want you to go, wow, I've improved so much, and put a smile on your face, because improving in football is an amazing thing, and most people aren't even training in the right way, so they're not even going to see these massive improvements like you are. So that's tip number 2. Get excited about your progress, get addicted to becoming better, because after all, this is the whole game of life. It's the whole game of football. Obviously life as the whole, but football as the niche. You become better and better and better and better. That's an amazing thing to be a part of, and you are the centre of that journey. So get gassed, get excited when you do something good. Even if you score in a game, whatever it is, like seriously, like get excited about it, like go, come on. Like say things visibly out loud to make yourself proud of who you are and how far you've become. That's it for tip 2. Let's get on to tip 3. So for tip 3, this is going to be a slightly different one. The first 2 have been kind of like about motivating yourself and getting yourself to actually do the work. But what if it's so boring and you just cannot be asked to do it? Because we've all been there. We've all been in this position. Don't lie. I know that you've been in this position as well. Because we all get home and we just literally cannot be bothered. And what makes it worse is if you're training alone, because then you go out there and you literally, like, you've got nothing to do. You're just on your own training in the cold, wet and dark, and it's not enjoyable all the time. So this is a very easy solution, and that is train with a friend. Even if this friend's so bad, you should be practicing drills where, if they're so bad, then obviously don't do one-on-ones, because it's pointless, right? It's not going to be able to replicate in game. But go and train with a friend. This makes it way more enjoyable, because when you're on a grind on your own, that's what a lot of football is. It's quite a lonely path, and that's not a nice feeling. Whereas if you're training with a friend, you're both seeing each other get better. You can both push each other a little bit. You're both in it together, and that's a feeling of you have unity together. And when you have that, then it's a lot easier to actually do the work, because if you can't be asked, then your friend might be asked that day, and he'll tell you, come on, let's do it. And not even from that point of view, from another point of view, it's literally like when you're training, you know, it's more enjoyable. Your friend's like egging you on, he's doing, yeah, you got this, that's good. All of those things, like that positive reinforcement, it just makes it a lot more enjoyable to do. And you don't want to be alone the whole time with football, because that is largely what it's about. It's not fun. So if you can train with a friend, train with a friend. If you can't, this is the same tip, but bring a speaker. I used to do this all the time, because a lot of my friends quit football at like 16, 15. I mean, they all stopped, like a lot of them stopped taking it seriously from a younger age, but 16, 17, 18 was when a lot of people quit. So I found myself training alone quite a lot in this time. And what I do is I just bought a speaker. So you listen to some music, gets you gas, whatever genre you're picking. Obviously at that time I was probably listening to just like prime American rap, so I'd be listening to a lot of that. And that would just be like motivating me to just keep going and keep grinding football, because training alone, like, it's kind of boring. All you've got to listen to is the seagulls in the sky or the birds. Like it can be boring, right? So if you really cannot be arsed, bring a speaker with you, blast them tunes while you're playing, and trust me, that'll be a bit of external motivation just for you to get through that session. And it makes it more fun, even if you are motivated to train today. bringing a speaker just gets you more gas to train, and you're probably going to be able to do everything a little bit more 10%. So it works in the other way as well. You can do 110% when you've got a speaker, or if you're feeling really lazy, you can probably just get to 90, 100%, whatever it is. So that's it for tip 3. So for tip 4, this is one that you won't see many people say, because most people go, oh, you've got to grind all the time, bro. Grind 100% of the time, stop being lazy. And like, I get that. I mean, I've literally said things like this before, but realistically, it's not possible, right? So this is one that you might take the wrong way, and I don't want you to take this the wrong way. You need to understand that you should be able to complete a full training session, and if you can't all the time, then don't worry, but on 99% of the time, you have to do the whole training session. But for this tip, it's just do a half session. Just do a little bit, because with football, this is something that I want to promote so much, is that it's not a train really hard for 1 year and you get the result. Obviously that can happen for some people, but for the most part, football is this long journey from the age of 4, when most people begin, or some people begin, all the way up to like 18, 19, 20, even 25 if you enter into men's football and you want to improve. So it's not like school where you lock in for 6 months and like, it's not like you've got terrible grades. So what you do is you lock in for 6 months and you grind, you do 10 hours a day, grinding. That's not what football is, because these exams have a date where you have to finish them. Whereas football, there's no final date where that's it. That doesn't exist. I mean, you see some players from non-league playing semi-pro get scouted, or not get scouted, I guess, but sign professional contracts when they're 30. So there's no expiry date on football. So you need to understand that if you can't do a full training session, it's not the end of the world, because next week you'll do a whole one, and it's these little training sessions every single day over the course of many years. You will be better than everyone else. Even if you did a half session every other week, you just couldn't be asked, you just did a little bit. Obviously you should always strive to do the whole session, but if you can't, and you're just like, oh, can't really be bothered, my legs don't feel great, no, I'm not really with it today, just do a half session. It's that simple, because you don't need to go 100% all the time, because it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. And I know that's a classic quote that everyone uses, but for football, it's so true. Because after all, it's not, even if you get into an academy after a year of grinding really hard, you have to maintain that spot. Then you have to get a scholarship, then you have to get a pro, and then you have to make your debut in the first team, or you get loaned out, whatever it is. At any of your points in your career, because you should be viewing football as a career at this point, even if you're playing Sunday League, view it as a career, view it as a genuine life option that you can make money out of in a way. Like, it's your dream profession, it's a job. So at any point throughout your career, you decide to just stop altogether for a year, 2 years, that is going to give you a really bad setback. You're not going to improve, you will get worse. So just do half sessions, because you might not even improve from a half session, but you'll maintain at least, and that will stop you from getting worse. And at best, it will make you improve a little bit. And these half sessions, even though I'm calling them half sessions, I'm saying, it's not that much, you should be doing more. No one else is doing these half sessions. Genuinely no one else. And this is more advice to myself. When I was younger, I wish I just trained a bit more, because if I trained a bit more, who knows where I'd be right now. But I really want you to take that seriously, because I just wish I tried a little bit harder when I was younger. Obviously, I had other interests, etc. But just trust me, if you can't be bothered, just do a little half session. And that half session, trust me, you will look back on those half sessions. You might do 50 half sessions in 3 years. That sounds like you're lazy, but you're not, because you're doing more than everyone else. Trust me, you get to 17, 18, and you'll thank yourself. That little extra work you did, that little bit of dribbling, that little bit of shooting, that little bit of crossing, those things add up. It's not, like I said, it's not a sprint. Like, people, especially in January, people go, oh, I'm grinding, this is my year. They go 100%, train every day, and then they burn out. And if you burn out in February or the end of Jan, then you've got to take a massive break. And then everyone who was training a little bit, half day. Can't really be bothered today, half session. Feel good today, full session. CBA today, half session. That person, the person who sprints at the start of January, cool, they improve really fast, but then they give up and then they don't improve. It's a flat line. You does them half session, full session, half session, half session, full session, full session. You're gonna go like this. And by the end of the year, you've absolutely killed the person who's gone 100% and then given up. So don't give up. Just do a little half session if you can't be bothered. And that's pretty much it for the tips. I hope this video has helped. I will have some free training, link in the description. I'll send you an email every now and again, maybe twice a week, 3 times a week. And I'll just be giving you free value, like all the lessons that I've learned from when I was a kid. I'll send them to you. They will help you learn from my mistakes, learn from the things that I've done well. Sign up to the emails in the description and make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Also, let me know if you want more videos like this where it's unscripted and I'm just talking from the heart to you, giving you advice, basically advice to my younger self. See you later. See you in the next one.